la la.
Gah, fuck! Alright, which one of you good for nothing did it?
He did it.
Such preposterous words, brother! To speak isn't our mother with that mouth! Lies, lies, Sir IQs! He was the perpetrator!
God, I can't tell. The both of you look so much alike. If only there's a soon-to-be unemployed college student who could waste his time philosophizing and tell us exactly who did it. Ah, the age-old question, eh? Who did it? A question that has been long argued since the time of the man, woman, and snake to even being the catalyst for most of the conflicts in history, like how Monopoly is for capitalism, FPS games for future remote-controlled defense, or terrorism. The game of blame has been played by us for as far back as we can remember, with its only requirement for playing is a finger, or anything else really, that is capable of directing someone's attention towards something that one thinks might be the culprit behind a crime. So, point here, point there, point everywhere, blame him, blame her, expose the enemy, and uphold the principle of keeping fair. But even if we say it's fair, is it really fair? Like, okay, it is understandable to assume that in the case of the man with the kick leg, for us to agree that the cause of that crime falls on the person who committed it. That's common sense. But what if we're wrong? With emphasis on the person who committed it, if we were to blame the most recent cause of an event, then is it wrong for me to say that we are closing the case prematurely and potentially butting the bait by putting the blame on a scapegoat presented to us by the what could be masterminds behind the action? Truly, the persons who committed it. Like blaming Eve and only Eve for eating and sharing the apple with Adam and stopping the case there while the snake roams free unpunished for his sinful act, or blaming the shooter and only the shooter for killing a great number of people and stopping the case there while the ones who kidnapped and tortured his family, who threatened him to kill them if he had dared not to do what they say, roams free unpunished for their atrocious and abominable action. And that does not sound fair now, does it? We should indulge in shallow thinking, defiling someone's innocence just so that we could spare ourselves from the pain of thinking deeper? No, it's not right, or to be more correct, it's not fair, and that's why this video exists, to continue our search in seeking out those who committed it, to expose the people in control, to strip the question down to its bare ass and make it reveal to us once and for all the ones who are responsible. In this scenario of who kicked the man, sure, it would be quite the miracle for us to be able to rewind time and identify clearly the true cause of the event. But alas, humans can't do that now, can we? Instead, we make up for our lack of omniscient powers with our ability to think logically, like deducing that the house caught on fire because someone left the stove on inside, or concluding that the car broke down because somewhere inside of the engine something gone wrong. We don't know what it is yet, but we know it's there. It's the need for a reason. It's the principle of universal causation, the principle which states that everything has a cause. And that same reasoning applies to this situation as well. Regarding the kid who did the kick, something made him do it. And if we can find what that something is, then there we'll find our perpetrator. Well, what could that be then? What could have pushed the kid to do such an act? Catching the first thoughts that comes to mind, thoughts of 1, well, this is the parents' fault. It's because of their lack of discipline that the kid thinks he can do whatever he wants. 2, perhaps his friends dared him. Yes, gullibility is a prone trait to have for kids his age. I remember doing way worse things when I was his age, simply because I wanted to impress my peers. Or 3, the motherfucker's just evil! And whoa, slow down there, champ. Remember, we're trying not to be shallow here, so let's not draw the line here just yet and explore these thoughts further. Then, starting from the first theory, the parents. Oh, how we love them much. From our mothers, whose face is the first pattern we fell in love with, to our fathers, whose standard is the first threshold we'll always try to surpass. They are truly the main sculptures of this clay made of us. It's their fault the kid did the kick. If only they had taught their bitch-ass kid better, then my leg would have been fine with these goddamn fucking stupid-ass millennial. Oh, again, slow down there, champ. Remember, there's the principle of universal causation, the fact that everything, and by that I mean everything, has a cause, and that everything covers those causes as well, which means that there are causes for those causes, and causes behind the causes of those causes, and so on and so forth. Like, okay, let's say that it is because of the parents' bad parenting. But again, there's a cause behind that bad parenting, What could it be? Well, if we were to apply the same reasoning, then we would find that it's because of the parents' bad parenting towards the parents. And how about the cause of that bad parenting? Well, it's because of the parents' bad parenting towards the parents. The logic eats itself over and over again. It's what's called as the chain of causation. This is the greatest example of what a gameplay from the game of blame looks like. From causes to causes, from events to events. And unless you have an infinite amount of time in your hand to retrace back everything that has ever happened before, unless we're willing to talk about the possibility of there being a first cause, to defy the principle of causation, to suppose that there, somewhere in the past, exists a thing that is free from the shackles of the rules of the universe, then we're not going to get anywhere. The question will bear the same fate as the question of what's the biggest number, with every single number proposed destined to be defeated by the formula of that number plus 1. It's here where we'll find, on this first path that we took, a cul-de-sac and a note on the ground claiming to be from the ones who are responsible, boasting over its first victory over us, by stating its first claim of many that, "Joke's on you, bitch! I can't be found!" And here, you might say, "Well shit then! If it can't be found, then where do we go from here? No, this can't be right. This path must have been flawed. Like, could we really blame a person's entire life based on what their parents were like? No, it's not right. There are countless of other factors that contribute in shaping how one acts, and who they got as parents is not something that they have any control over. Right, it depends on what they have control over. That's what counts. That's what makes a person responsible. Well, alrighty then. To the second thought we go, to suppose that a kid did decay because of his friends, or should I say his environments. It has been hypothesized by great minds in the past that humans, when we first came into this earth, were all blank canvases, vulnerable to the trillions of brushes held by the events that have and are happening in our lifetime. And those brushstrokes, those external experiences decide for you the type of person you're going to be, which also includes the decisions you're going to make. And again, you might say, "What? That sounds even more insane! Screw not being able to be found, but to say that every choice that we're going to make has already been decided for us by the environments that are out of our control, it goes against everything we know about free will, of freedom, of self-control!" Well, so what if it does? What are you gonna do about it? If I have a banana, a pear and an apple, and I come to you but I only offer you to pick either the pear or the apple, while having prior knowledge that you are allergic to apples, therefore knowing that you'll pick the pear when you eventually do, could you really say that you picked that? If the universe, the entity that has all of these trillions of choices, of circumstances, of possibilities that are beyond what a person can imagine, and it comes to you, but only offers you two choices despite the infinite-like nature of the repository from which those choices emerge from, while having prior knowledge of all of your limitations, your past experiences, everything there is that makes you, everything that he himself gave, you fully knowing that all of those things combined will indirectly force you to pick the choice that he already has in mind for you. When you eventually do, could you really say that you picked that? And isn't that the case for every choice that we've ever had to make? Even when we don't want to admit it, our personality, our knowledge, our desires, all of them were formed from the experiences that went through us, events that are out of our control. Take, for example, your dream to become a doctor. Was it within your control that you are born in a family with the financial stability to support and polish that dream of yours? No, it was not. Was it within your control that you were born in a time period where the profession of doctors exists? No, it was not. Was it within your control that, as a kid, to be helpless when your father was impacted by incurable disease and in wishing to make his life even just a little bit better, to swear on your life that you'll step up and find the cure yourself? No, it was not. If the universe had only given you a different set of circumstances, of choices to be made, of possibilities that are just slightly better than this one, then our life would have been completely different. For better or for worse, if he had not given my father an illness, if I had not been exposed to the profession, or if I had not known the existence of doctors, like, by the way, how people were thousands of years ago, then wouldn't my desires be completely different? And wouldn't that imply that my hopes and dreams were forced upon me in the first place by external things that are out of my control? And again, there are still countless of other factors that come into play in how we make decisions, of variables that we didn't get the chance to talk about here, but still independent from the situation. When we ask ourselves, where did I have a say in that, or when we retrace back that variable to its past causes, we're inevitably going to have to consider in all of the external things that are out of our control that made the decision possible in the first place, proving once again that who we are was not even decided by us. So when the kid comes running up to you, preparing to do that little kick of his, unknowingly forced by everything that he has ever known, everything that is out of his control, being puppeteered by the universe to commit an action that he has no say in, could we really blame him for such a thing? And even when we consider in the third thought of the possibility of it all being natural, of it all being internal, something that came really from inside him, if the canvas came pre-painted, to suppose that a person who was born into this world came with their nature predetermined, then that's worse, is it not? To justify a kid's misdemeanor because simply he was born that way, to disregard any criminal's criminal record because there was nothing he could do. It was his nature to do such an act, and if we were to punish them, then to punish them without a chance of repentance because they can't change their antagonist, decided by the author whose only purpose is to serve their role in the story, and the ink has long dried now. And where does fairness exist in that? To blame the man for acting according to his nature, the carnivore for eating meat, the sheep for producing wool, and even when we want to talk biologically, where do we have control in that? Could we decide which mutations to cure, how we'll evolve, or how our DNA will get constructed, how tall we'll be, how prone to aggressiveness, how attractive, conforming to societal standards, how evil, how good, how we'll exist? Where do we get to say that we pick that? Where do we get to say that we're in control? And even with that thought of yours, that thought that's trying its best to defy this Determinism Thesis, that repulsive feeling in your gut and heart, those in you that are advocating and insisting for the existence of freedom, is operating under a language from which it received from experience and a body born out of nature, what it knows it got from, what it is it received from. And when I ask of you to run this thought under a system from which the language gifted from experience and body molded in nature is unpresent, to construct an argument that came about from the quote-unquote real you, could you do it? Could determinism be unproven? Could I have picked my own fate? No, I cannot. So if it can't be found, and if you do find it, then it can't be blamed, and if you do blame it, then it can't be changed, what the fuck can we do about it then? To accept that we're living in an already predetermined world, that fate and destiny is a real thing and there's nothing that we can do to defy it, that no one is responsible for anything, that control is non-existent, that freedom is a myth much more widespread than religion itself? No, this has to be flawed. Something needs to be blamed, for if not, then are we supposed to believe that all of the punishments we've given to people in the past were all for nothing? That the deaths and lifetimes spent in prisons were all in vain? That our hopes and dreams and desires are all illusions? No. Something must be held responsible. And if humans can't be blamed, if cause and events can't be changed either, then it is the responsibility of him who makes all of them possible, the Father, the cause and the author behind everything. Dare I say that the one who's responsible for all of this suffering, misery, rape, pain, tears, and blame is existence itself. He's the one in control. He's the one who's pulling all the strings, the true masterminds, the ones who committed it, the ones who are responsible, the ones to blame. And there's nothing that we can do